Hello, welcome to Flory Models Daily Blog. Here we are on Monday the 25th of April 2016, and big thank you. Big thank you to everybody who spoke to me and Steve on Saturday for Saturday Morning Live. I must admit, I really do enjoy it. I know Steve enjoys it as well, because obviously we just talk like we normally do, to be honest, and then we answer your questions as we make our way through. We know it's getting all a little bit confusing about the live shows and how we're doing it, because we're doing more live than ever before, because this is live. We do the Q&A on Tuesday, tomorrow. That'll be live. Steve's coming on with me as well. We're going to be doing that in the afternoon, and then obviously we got the Saturday morning live thing every other. So what we're going to try and do is sort of streamline it in that bit of the forum, so you know exactly when we are on air, when we are live, and all the bits and pieces. It went so well on Saturday that hopefully what we're going to be able to do is set up with the Skype to get more of you involved with it and everything else, because that worked really flawlessly. All the problems we had, particularly with Steve not being able to see anything, was absolutely wonderful the week before. This time did exactly the same, and it worked like a treat. So we had no problems with it. We had no, sound issues or anything else. I know I was a little bit quieter, so I turned myself up, but it turns out Steve was particularly loud, and that was it. So afterwards, when I looked at it, it was a case of that was the trouble. Steve was a little bit loud, so next time I'll bring him down a bit so he's on level with everything else, and we can make our way through it like that. Steve also, as he said, he's going to angle his camera down so you can see exactly what he's doing. So say a couple of you messaged me as well and said it'd be nice to see Steve's work, but what he'll do is he'll angle his webcam down. It's a little bit different, obviously, the setup we have. I'm using a hugely complicated bit of software that does all of this, which basically means you can have different angles and things like that. So that's how we can get away with doing things like this. It's not cheap, this setup, to be honest, but as I say, you can look down then and see what I'm getting at with bare metal foil and everything down here. But as I said, Steve doesn't. He's doing it the way we used to do it, where you just literally have a webcam and have to do everything off the webcam. Who knows, in time, if this really takes off, then we'll set Steve up with a set like I've got, and we'll get him doing it as well and everything else. But it is a particular thing. It's the PC is actually doing all of this. It's not like a webcam. As you know, we've got the studio cameras running through the PC, which are running through capture cards that are feeding all the information, and then it comes across, and then Steve comes in via Skype, and it all gets a little bit sort of complicated doing it all. But as we've said all the way through this is brand new to us. We've never really done live stream, multicam streaming and everything else like that. We've got separate audio now, so everything's very complex. I said on the show, cable now is a nightmare. I've got cables absolutely everywhere. It's so much easier. We just had a couple of camcorders and SD cards. Now we don't even use SD cards. Everything's recorded back to the PC direct. Well, even for these builds now, I've just switched over the system, so all of these cameras are feeding it back to hard drives. So that way, hopefully, it won't ever lose anything, unless I lose a hard drive. Better not. Anyway, on to today. So up today we've got the Halifax. Now I know I had 4 messages all on Saturday. Don't know why. Everyone's saying, what happened to the airliner? Is it stalled? No, it hasn't. It's here. We'll speak about that in a moment. But today you're going to catch up with me basically on the actual Halifax, which is talking about doing this guy that almost gets to here. The yellow on the front, as I said, that's going to be in the next part, which will probably be next Monday now, because I'm going to switch it around because the airline will be up with you on Wednesday. Basically, we talk about sanding paint, which is one of my favourite techniques of doing now. As I say, the airliner, look how lovely and glossy that is. That's just polished, literally polished up with one of our buffers to make it look like a mirror over flat coat. It's amazing what you can do with it. And in reverse, what I've done here is sanded any little errors and problems we've had with the paintwork out by using a normal sander and then the polisher over the top. So we speak about doing that, and obviously you can do things with, we spoke about I think on Friday as well, different techniques and all the rest of it. So that is up with you now. It's only a 20-minute part, and I must apologise, and it does say at the beginning, I lost the camera I'm speaking to you now has the primary audio feed with it, and then what happened is I deleted that. And I've got quite expensive recovery software for getting everything back, and it wouldn't bring back those files. So there's 2 bits missing. So what I've done is I've taken those 2 bits, and it's a one-off episode. I've tweaked and played with the sound as best as I can. I think it's okay. But the thing is, it's only a 20-minute part, because then the audio is fine afterwards, and you get a huge jump in quality between 2. So what I've done is I've elected to sort of say, right, okay, keep that as a 20-minute part. Talks about it. To be honest, you don't need to see me anyway, and it talks about doing all the paintwork and the bits and pieces to it. Okay, then as we come off the back side of it, it's going to be talking about the black work, and then you'll be lucky enough to know I'm back. Okay, so the audio is absolutely fine for that. So as I said, it's a 20-minute part. Otherwise, it would have been a 38-minute part. but then the back end of it sort of would have been brilliant audio compared with the inside looking a bit choppy and everything else. So that's what I've done. So I must apologise for the audio. It's not exactly spot on, and you don't get to see me, but then who cares? All right, so that's done. Today with this, I've been playing with bare metal foil. Now, as I said, it's something I don't normally do, but as I explained with this, as you'll see on Wednesday, sometimes bare metal foil really comes into its own, and this is one of them. Leading edges of wings, okay, purely because trying to get a nice metallic finish, it's a lot of masking, it's a lot of flapping around with it and all the rest of it, whereas what we can actually do here is come in and literally bare metal foil it within a few moments, rub it all down, and it goes down. Now, I'm not saying this stuff is perfect, I'm not saying it's like an alternative to sort of, you know, metallizers and all the rest of it, because I think they have their place. This is great for selective small little areas, leading edges of wings, things like that. It doesn't particularly conform very well round corners, so I'm amazed that this has gone in as well as it has. We just switch over camera. Okay, because what we've actually got is it down here, and you can see it on here. So we've trimmed up both sides of it, but trying to get it to go in is notoriously difficult. And I've got on here, if we pull this one off, we've got this guy done as well. Okay, so these are the leading edges, the nozzles, if you like, on the front of the intakes, which are done in bare metal foil. It's easier and quicker than trying to mask it, but you get that sort of wrinkle with it. And the great thing with bare metal foil though is you can squeeze this stuff to an inch of its life. You literally mold it down and in, and once it's down and in, it really is down there and it's in place, and you have no problem with it at all. It's just getting it down in there can be a little bit thing. The downside to it as well, before everyone runs off and grab this, extremely fragile. Okay, so it doesn't like being handled particularly. It certainly doesn't like being rubbed the wrong way, because if you rub the wrong way and it lifts, it will just tear off. Okay, so I'm not sure about overcoating this with a lacquer, because you might lose the metal luster, but I think it's going to need it. Technically, this isn't going to be handled. If you're going to handle this model, you're always going to grab it here, and luckily even down here on the tails we've got nothing. But as you see, it's quite nice to do this leading edge one at the back. It's nice, straightforward, easy job. Put it down and then just cut it into, you know, scribe it in as exactly how you want it, and you're good to go just like that. All right, so as you said, it's one of those things, we talk about it, it's the first time we've properly covered it. We've used it in little jobs, patches and things like that, but we've never used it sort of in anger on something. But as I say, I've got scrolls of it down here. The only trouble I find with it is I get a load of wastage. I'm not very good with it, so I can go through a sheet quite quickly. You think this wasn't a brand new sheet, but it was getting on for it, and we've used that amount already just to do some leading edge wings and all the rest of it. But fear not, I know a couple of people asking about it. Is it stalled? What happened? You binned it? It is here. It's just that obviously we were doing paint week and speaking about paint and everything on the actual Halifax last week, but it will be back up with you on Wednesday, where by then I'll have the engines done for this as well, and maybe even deckled. Okay, so if I can, I'm going to push on heavily with this one. So this one will basically be done this week, and then obviously we're going to be playing with the actual Lancaster, so we're going to be deckling that, probably do it the same day as I do this one and everything else like that. So it should come along to give us nice progression right the way through. Quick ask out for you guys, because I have been asked about it and I want to get your feedback before I make any decisions. How many builds do you want me to have on the go at any one time? The reason I ask that is that I've had probably about 7 or 8 people in the last couple of weeks say about it would be nicer if I just did one build and focused onto it and pushed through it, because if you're following that build you have to sort of, you know, staggered. At the moment I try and give you one of each every week, so you've got a bit of it. But would you prefer me to push through with like one build start to finish, okay, and then that way I have a build for me on the go as well? So when me and Steve are doing, like we're doing the helicopter at the moment, I might do some sci-fi and all the rest of it. Or do you like having something totally different? I try and do poles apart. So normally we have armor and an aircraft, okay, or armor and sci-fi, or, you know, something else that's completely wacky to each other. This one we've got a modern airliner, which I think is its own genre completely, and then a World War II bomber. Okay, I had every intention to literally, I was actually, the next two up is going to be the Tacom Chieftain. I was going to have a go at that one with the Osprey because it's part of the group build, and then the Osprey, to be honest, is going to be a flash through, and then we're going to start on the F190, okay, FW190, the Focke-Wulf, the big build for the summer with all the goodies that you know in that one. So, you know, let me know, give me the feedback in the forum. What would you like to see? Are you happy for me to carry on having 2 on the go at any one time, with the third being something I want to do for me, or would you rather see one thing push through it quite heavily, because as I said, Monday you'll always get a video build up. Tuesday is Q&A day, so it's either a recording or a live with me and Steve and all the rest of it. Wednesday is always going to be a video build up as well, so you're always going to get 2. So if we did it as 1, you're just going to get the part sort of, you know, 6 and then part 7 on the Wednesday, and I can push through them quite quickly. Or do you like having something a little bit different and all the rest of it? Up to you. As I said, let me know in the forum and we'll go through it like that. So as I said, we got Q&A tomorrow. All right, so if you've got any questions, put them into the Phil or ask Steve, because Steve's going to join me tomorrow afternoon. We're probably going to go live with it around about, I don't know, we might do it as a live recording, or we might just stick it up live as we go. Not too sure yet. Depends on how with timing. And it's a bit of the difficult thing, because we tend to do it during the day, that one. It's very hard to know exactly when we're both free to do it. Okay, so I can't say we will be on air at whatever time, because I'm not too sure. But if we do it as a live one, then obviously you guys can, you know, watch us live. But if you want your questions done, make sure your questions are in either to me or Steve in the section about Ask the Team. So as I said, ask Phil or ask Steve, pop them down in there, and we'll get through as many as we can, which we normally do, because we usually go down there for 2.5 hours some days, and other days we're done in an hour. So it just depends on your questions. We'll sit there until we almost get them all done. So there we go, that is about it from me. Go ahead and have a look at the actual Halifax build. That's up there. For you guys who are desperate to see this one done, I'm going to push on with it heavily this week, okay? And then next part of that will be up on Wednesday for you, just like that. Kit reviews up this week. I have got all the AK stuff in, and funny, I've got the Edard ones as well, and we can see exactly how close they are as a rebox of each other kits. And are they worth the extra tenner? So I know loads of people have asked me about it. Yes, they're here, literally they are all there. I've got them all, and then we can have a look. So is it worth an extra tenner? I don't know, your decision. So there we go, that's it from me. Take care everybody, and happy modelling, and I'll catch you tomorrow for the Q&As.